don't know.
Actually,
people would say that you should drink your tea like that. And speaking of tea, high tea is just not high tea without the perfect cup of tea. So here with her selection, our tea sommelier, Sheena, Brady. So Jason has been making sandwiches, and we've got a nice little selection of sandwiches, and you have got some tea that you're going to pair with this, so savory.
Absolutely. So to start right off, I brought this beautiful green tea, which I'm going to bring the leaves over to you to see, and it's this gorgeous Chinese green tea, and what's unique about this is it's actually blended and scented with jasmine flowers that are grown between the hours of midnight and 6 a.m. when they're their most fragrant.
Okay.
So, yeah,
so that stuff must be really cheap.
It's actually not too bad. You would be surprised.
Just saying.
So what I've prepared for you today is, of course, a cup of this tea. Now, again, I shared this last time I visited Tracy, but the pro tip for preparing green tea is never use boiling water.
Right.
Because if you boil your water, you will burn the tea leaves, and then they will become bitter, and it'll create this unnecessary astringent taste. So if you want, you can boil your water, but unplug the kettle, let it cool for, about 30 seconds, and it should be the perfect temperature for your steeping.
Perfect.
Yeah, so it's all ready to go. Do you want to try?
Let's do it.
So the reason why I selected this tea today is because, when Jason put together this, the mix of the watercress and the salmon, that smokiness of the salmon particularly, I thought this green tea would complement it very nicely, because when we're talking about green tea and food pairings, you want to think lighter. So chicken, soups, sushi, the lighter dishes will complement green tea very well. And in this case, there's a slight herbaceousness to it and vegetative flavor to the jasmine green tea. A hint of florals in there that'll really accent the cucumber and the watercress, as well as the salmon and the dill, really nicely without overpowering it.
Okay, so I'm going to try some as well, but I want to know, is there a right or a wrong way to drink my tea?
That's a good question.
Like, is there anything? Obviously, don't slurp it.
Right.
Oh, I was just about to
Don't slurp it.
So actually, as a professional tea sommelier, when you are tasting tea, you are supposed to slurp your tea. In fact, it's very...
Like this?
Exactly like Jason is a pro.
So
and the reason why is because, again, think of it like wine. When you sip that wine and you're slurping it in, you're aerating it in your mouth, and you're really absorbing all the unique flavors and nuances across your palate.
Okay, but
so
how many times do you go for high tea and you hear people around you slurping?
I know.
They're drinking it all wrong.
I know. They're trying to be too fancy and bougie about it.
I just want to talk to my mom right now and say, Mom, all those times you told me not to slurp my tea. So wrong.
It's completely okay to slurp, especially as tea professionals. It's imperative for us to be able to understand the complexities and nuances.
Very cool. Okay, try a sandwich, slurp your tea, and we'll be right back. We're going to break. It's time to add a delicious high tea dessert to the table. So creating a strawberry rhubarb curd tart is Chef Jason, and our tea sommelier, Sheena, is going to be with us as well. So we want to talk a little bit about high tea.
Yeah.
But first, it's the sweet
side,
portion.
exactly.
It's the important part of it.
We did the savory side.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that we also get afternoon tea and little delicate sandwiches, but we all want the sweet side, right?
Yes.
So, but before we get into
Scones and all
one, I
that.
want to share how to make one nice little tart. And the thing is, it starts off with beautiful rhubarb. And all I did was I made a rhubarb compote. So I took rhubarb with skins on everything, chopped it up, some sugar, some lemon juice, a little bit of water, and I just cooked it and cooked it and cooked it till I ended up with a compote.
Nice.
Right? But then I can use that served with scones and things like that, or some butter in the pot, and then just adding a whole bunch of the rhubarb in there.
I'm seeing a theme with you in this butter, Jason.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Butter.
Well, if it's not enough fat, then it's lots of sugar too. So just a little bit of sugar.
Yeah.
Right?
Just a little bit.
It is a tart.
Exactly, it's dessert here, right?
Yeah.
But then 4 eggs, and all you're going to do is, and then a little bit of lemon juice. But this is the easiest thing to make because you're just going to whisk it all together, not too fast, right? But once it's mixed, you end up with a mixture like that. You just go on your burner, and then you put on your favorite soap opera, and you just kind of stir for a while, right? But after about 20 minutes, you're cooking it just to the point where it will coat the back of a spoon.
Okay.
Or as I would say, coat the back of the spoon, because that's what you end up with.
Very nice.
And isn't that great? It's really flavorful, and you can use that in tart shells like I've got here. And if you're, again, busy, you can buy these pre-made tart shells.
Yes.
And afternoon tea, there's a lot of components, so I recommend, pre-made helps you out to kind of organize everything, right?
I agree.
So
while you put those together, I want to talk a little bit about the difference between high tea and afternoon tea, because they're
Yes.
two different things.
They are two different things, and we commonly interchange those words. In fact, they're two completely different things. So, what Jason's prepared today is really essentially a beautiful afternoon tea display. And traditionally, it would be in between the hours of lunch and dinner to really hold off our hangriness in between that time while we're waiting for the next meal, right?
Okay.
Whereas high tea traditionally is actually served with a hot meal or entree. And so in itself is a meal, where this is considered, in between a meal. So that's usually the key difference.
And when would high tea be served? Is it dinner time?
High tea could be served right at lunchtime or right at dinner time, where afternoon tea is, again, between those hours. So usually between 2 and 4.
And what kind of meal are we talking about at a high tea?
It could be like a hot, it could be like a hot sandwich, like a full entree, or warm salad or something like that. It's really more
just
of
more substantial, right?
Exactly,
It's
more substantial.
It's a meal.
But
exactly.
you'll find too though, tea has become so popular though. Like famous places like the old Dorchester and the Ritz, they're serving tea almost all day now because it's just trying to get booked into it, right?
Totally.
But I think it really is neat. And so what I've done here is I've just kind of finished off this tart by adding a little bit of chantilly, added some chopped pistachios, and then I took these fresh strawberries and actually just added a little bit of rosé wine over them.
Yes, sir.
And then just what you do is leave them sit overnight.
I want to be those strawberries.
I know. But here's the breakdown of the tea, because basically your top layer is your pastries. So you've got your shortbread biscuits, you've got your scones or your tea biscuits or whatever it might be, and the pastry that you want to make. And then the actual sides that you want to put with it, there's some traditional things. For example, clotted cream.
So important.
I just love the way that's the clotted cream.
It sounds like diet,
Yeah, exactly. But this is steamed cream, so it's really intense, really high fat, but it's really rich, and on scones you've had nothing better.
It's just rich and it's light though.
Right. Well,
right? Because it's whipped, but
allows you to
it's
put
amazing.
more and more.
Yes.
And then different jams and things like that. And I always put honey with it, marmalades with it.
Yes.
And I actually just did the rhubarb compote and put it on there as well.
Lovely.
Because the idea is this goes in the middle of the table, you're sipping on tea and things like that, which you've actually prepared, right?
And speaking of tea, so I've got quite a decadent treat here today. So this is an Earl Grey tea, but with a little bit of a feminine flair, I like to say. And these tea leaves are coated in the citrus oil of bergamot. That's what makes Earl Grey and unique. However, we've leveled it up with a little bit of rose petals and lavender. We've called it Duchess of Earl. So again, adding that feminine flair. And what that does is it adds a little bit of natural creamy complexity to it.
Okay.
And so I'm going to pour you each a cup.
And I love that, it's all about, you've got that strawberries and, the pistachio and the, almost like aromatics and freshness of it. And then you get the tea that kind of matches that.
The reason why I've chosen this one is because when we talk about the decadent treats that Jason has put together today, all the butter and the rhubarb and the strawberries, this black tea will definitely hold up to it and it'll complement it very well. That's why with black tea, you often see it traditionally drunk with a little bit of milk, because it's tannic enough and full-bodied enough to have, to be able to stand up next to it. And when I say tannins, again, similar to wine, that puckery feeling you get in your mouth when you're sipping a nice bold Cabernet, very similar with black tea. So it's got that beautiful bold tannic structure to kind of bring it all together with the
milk first or milk later?
To each their own. I won't get that snobby.
Okay, got it. All right. Thank you so much for that. Let's go to break. More coming up.